Welcome aboard to podcast 18 in the series of the Voyage to back Yonder. As we journey further through the wreckage offshore, heading to the open sea, we comprehend that every experience we've had here has been about contrasting our true selves against what we are not. We see the reflections in the water of what we went through yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, or years ago. And if we could detach the emotions ringing in our ears, our perception of the situation could differ. It's like when you're watching, one of the scary movies, and they usually have all that scary music playing, drawing us in, and we know we're being set up for a surprise of some sort. And then the loud noise comes and the popcorn goes flying. But if you mute the music of the movie, turn on the lights, suddenly we see it as the movie that it is. It doesn't feel so much like our reality. We can also do that with our memories. We can mute the music, mute the noise in our head. The root of every uncomfortable emotion is the fear of losing love. So the key to muting the noise in our head is to discover how we can turn down the fear volume and turn up the unconditional love volume. And one of these ways is through gratitude. For example, I find that when I focus on what I don't have, I feel loss, and then I become sad. But when I focus on the thankfulness for what I do have, I feel full and happy. Death of a physical body rattles our cages and draws our attention to loss. It's what we're taught. It's part of conditioned or conditional love. But when we focus on the eternal spirit of unconditional love, we realize we can never lose anything because love never dies. Though the physical body stops working, our spirit lives on forever. Our loved ones never leave us. We just don't see them with our physical eyes. But if we close our eyes, take a deep breath, and open up our hearts, then we see, then we hear, then we feel their touch and feel their love. Then we can be grateful that unconditional love never ends. We never end. Our feelings transform from doom and gloom to light and bright. When we start to freak out that we don't have that position at work or a job, or we don't have that new retail item, or we don't have that body that we think we should have, we have been drawn into the world of judgment of the fear ego, comparing to the expectations that we think are thrust upon us. But when we start to focus on gratitude for the job that we do have, knowing we could be out of work completely, but we are not. And if you're out of work against your will, know that it isn't against your will. It's happening because you've asked that it happen to you. You can be grateful that you have been poked by your angels to focus on what is important. Because when we get into that space, we can see life for what it is, and then hear from the whispers of love where it is that we can focus next. When we look around ourselves and are grateful for everything that is around us that we think we possess, we can be grateful for it like a gift. I mean, we could be sitting in an empty home or out on the street with nothing. And sometimes thinking that can make you feel free. You don't have anything to protect then. There's nothing to defend. And when we see all that we have, we begin to lose the strong interest in those things we thought we needed. And as we peer at ourselves in the mirror, we might pick apart our body for the things we think are not acceptable about it. But maybe rather than judge ourselves for what we are not, we can switch that emotion to one of gratitude for what we do have. A healthy arm, or maybe even two. A healthy leg, or even two. An eye that sees, or even two. An ear that hears. Hey, yep, exactly. Even 2 ears. The ability to smell, the ability to taste, the ability to touch and feel. You can get lost in the many things that are amazing about your body. So when we leave the place of fear and judgment, we can move into the place of unconditional love and celebration. And once we're in that space, then we can still go for that position at work or for the job we want without expectation, without fear of failure. We're enjoying where we're at, so we're at a win-win, whether we get that job or not. When we're in that safe space of unconditional love, then we can still purchase something that we want, but the intention has changed. I don't need that thing anymore, but it's still totally fine to want, to save money for that thing or to have that as a goal. But the intention and the stress behind it is gone. It simply is. And whether I have that or not, I'm not impacted. I am happy and grateful for what I have right now. Same with our body. I can love my body and be grateful for it. And out of that love for myself and my body, I can change how I treat it. I can feed it food that is loving toward my body, and I can exercise out of love for my body, not because I'm trying to please someone else. See how we can mute the noise? When we bring ourselves to a place of peace, we can reflect on any past situation by asking a few questions to bring perspective around it. So I'll talk about 2 questions. First one, in that moment, was I feeling unconditional love or fearing losing love or acceptance? Take some deep breaths and sit with that question. Stand outside of yourself. Stand outside the situation. Just look at it honestly. It's okay. You're in a safe place right now. You're in a judgment-free zone. If you were feeling anything except joy and happiness, you were most likely in the realm of fear. And at the root, you feared what the situation meant about you, about your lovability, about your acceptability. Really, what will people think? How will they reject me? And it's important to get specific about how you feel you would be rejected. Because when you start talking about it out loud to yourself or writing it down somewhere, those lies start falling apart. I can't believe how those people talk to me. You know, we fear we're not worthy to be talked better to. We might believe that they're right or fear believing that they're right. We think that if others see them treating us that way, that they will think less of us for allowing it to happen. Or we fear that they might join in and add to the verbal abuse. But really, when we confront that outcome, how many of our true friends would really do that? None. You know your true friends would stand with you and support you. And really at the core of it, even if they all did join in to attack you, at your core, your belief about yourself is what defines you, nothing external. The unconditionally loving Creator lives inside you. The higher being of your spirit lives inside you. And in the end, all these actors and actresses behind these characters that are berating us out here, they are also unconditionally loving beings that love us without measure. Their actions in this realm are all for the sake of the movie. So question 1, unconditional love, or the fear of losing conditional love, helps us separate the love from the fear. And then we can go on to the second question. In this situation, was it an experience or devastation? Dun, dun, dun. It might seem like a ludicrous question, but the extremity of it allows some space to form in our mind. You know, once we realize every moment is either of love or the fear of losing love, then we can see that each moment is an experience. Devastation is a judgment of the situation based on fear. I'll say that again. Devastation is a judgment of the situation based on fear. A conclusion that was made when reality didn't meet up to our conditioned expectations. Because with unconditional love, there are no judgments. There's nothing to compare a situation to. Things just are, and they are perfect. They meet 100% of our expectations because with unconditional love, there are no expectations. And when we see life through unconditional love, we can trust that each moment unfolds for our highest experience. But when we're in fear of not meeting up to some conditional love law, then we are driven to compare and judge to make sure we are worthy and lovable and acceptable. We feel we are not enough or don't have enough. And then we're driven to become something else, someone else, and obtain more and more and more. So take some deep breaths, sit back, and ask yourself, was this situation an experience, or was it devastation? It's a wonderful part of this journey of ours, seeing the contrast between love and fear. It draws us out of the movie, out of this game, and we begin to feel that power of choice surge within us. Our free will to define what each moment means to us, no matter what the external influences are trying to make us believe. We are at the helm of our own ship. Until next episode, take some deep breaths and then take some more. When you become still for a moment, what memory is popping up in your head? What is gnawing at you? What is trying to get your attention? Why are you resisting looking at it? Take some more deep breaths. Fill your heart up with unconditional love. Let the Creator and all your angels and loved ones surround you with light and love. Then let that memory come closer. You don't have to re-experience it. You can just observe it like you're looking down on a planet from its orbit. It is down there, and you are up here. And then see the situation for what it was without the sound on. Was it of unconditional love, or was it of fear of losing conditional love? Was it an experience, or was it devastation? You get to decide, and you can change how you feel about what the situation meant for you. What other people perceived? Well, you will never really know. So decide for you and leave the rest of the world to decide for itself. Be you. Be unconditional love. Enjoy your voyage. I love you.